Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Dueling Wave with another Genesis related topic that I'd like to discuss today.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba, but it does contain the unstoppable
Dueling Wave. But before we hop into the topic, I'd like to real quick just shout out our Discord. We have a cool, growing community that discusses Genesis, TCG. We have alt format stuff. We have a custom format that we made ourselves to make the game even more fair that we've ran before in the past. So if you'd like to join us, you'd like to discuss, have a good time, it's on the description down below. Follow the link. We'll see you over there. Can't wait to meet you. Anyway, back to the video. So lingering floodgates in the game have been a thing for as long as anyone can really remember, right? What would be the earliest lingering floodgate to ever exist in Yu-Gi-Oh's history? Something that resolved and then just for the rest of the turn. Was it maybe DDG? Is Different Dimension Ground? Is that the first floodgate? I don't know. I feel like I should look it up. I want to look it up. All right. Earliest Yu-Gi-Oh floodgate ever. Hold on. Do lingering. Trap hole is not a lingering floodgate. Google AI. What would it be? Something that stayed till the end of the turn. I don't know. It has to be Different Dimension Ground. Different Dimension Ground. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting distracted right now. But if you guys have any clue on what the first lingering floodgate that was legit, I guess comment down below the first lingering floodgate and the first good lingering floodgate. Right? I feel like DDG might be the first good lingering floodgate. But what was the first original lingering floodgate? Lingering floodgate defined by not a continuous trap or continuous spell, level, limit, area, B, or gravity bind. Something that just for the rest of the turn did its thing. So anyway, back to the matter at hand. Lingering floodgates are a problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been done to death. So many different YouTubers have already discussed this topic. You've probably discussed this at your locals or regional or a YCS. We've heard the argument before. And I'm here to say, so what? Unfortunately, the problem still persists. We wouldn't have to discuss such things if Konami did their job. And first, I'm going to preface this. My whole statement is by saying, I'm going to preface it by saying that I love Genesis. I think it's awesome. I think we're so close to absolute perfection where the format's going to be absolutely awesome. We're so close. We're literally a Droll and Lockbird away, a Bongo Miniad hit away, and a few other unaffected monsters being touched up before we can get almost perfection. I don't think you could ever get full perfection, but 90% is close and attainable. But with all this being said, Konami ripped the band-aid off. Droll and Lockbird is a problem. It's always been a problem. The card has never been a part of healthy gameplay. If Droll's job in this format is to keep decks artificially down, certain overpowered decks that search way too much that are borderline FTKs, rip the band-aid off, have chaotic format as we've had already so far in Genesis, have the chaotic format and then hit those decks accordingly. But I think what they actually did was they left Droll and Lockbird in this format, especially they lowered it down to 5 points so that it's almost like how in the advanced TCG you have maybe Ash as your staple or Dominus Impulse. They want to give us Droll to be our staple in Genesis, seemingly. But this card is way too powerful. Yes, it's a -1, but you're minusing 1 yourself to stop your opponent from playing in its entirety, right? And the unfortunate part is that this card stops some really cool, fun, and fair decks. I'm not advocating for this card to be hit because I don't know, Drytron or Onomat, Rongo Turbo, or whatever. What I'm saying is this card stops you from playing. It stops good decks, fun decks, reasonable decks from playing. It stops, for Pete's sake, Necroz. Necroz is hit by this card disproportionately, and the deck is, for Genesis format, completely reasonable, fair, fun, and good. Any other ritual deck that you want to run. Rituals are notoriously butt, so you have to get as many cards to your hand as possible so you can play. This card just shuts that mechanic down. That is not good game design. Ever since, well, I don't know what year exactly, but Konami has made the gameplay loop in the last, at a minimum 5 years, but I'd say 10 years, for searching to be the main way that you get your play started. And you do multiple a turn to be able to get the cards you need to be able to play. Not even to make a broken board, just to play. So this card's impact is outsized. Instead of you going, hey, for me to make a board of 2 interrupts, I need maybe 3 searches, which is a completely fair and reasonable ask. This card says no. And so the problem, and I get the counter argument. I've heard the counter argument where these broken decks exist. we need to check for the broken decks, and Konami doesn't feel like hitting everything. Well, I think that's a bad argument. It's an illogical argument, because what we're functionally saying here is that these decks commit a war crime, and so what we should do is commit a war crime right back at them. That's stupid. The game, Yu-Gi-Oh, and its absolute peak can be amazing, so fun. But when you get dunked on by certain cards, like a Droll, it's just unbelievable. Game is a slog. It's not fun. And in your head, in the back of your head, you're saying to yourself, well, this guy didn't beat me. He beat me because he drew a floodgate, right? Floodgates existing doesn't make any sense. From a game design perspective, they're designed so that worse players, from what I'm understanding, worse players can beat better players. Isn't the point of a game to have the least amount of luck factor, unless it's a luck game? Isn't the point to have luck play the smallest role in the outcome of a game? A good game. Droll just adds luck, RNG to Yu-Gi-Oh! Even more than needs to be. But with all this being said, I don't really want to be negative. I don't want to go, hey, oh my god, Konami, you suck again, right? We did that. We've done that in previous videos in the past. They've done well with Genesis, so I want to be thankful for that. So, we're turning over a new leaf here on Dueling Wave, and instead of being negative, we're going to suggest something positive, a solution, if you will. And so, Konami, I went ahead and solved this issue for you. Make a new Droll, right? You noticed that Max C was broken, and you made the Mulcharmies, which are still admittedly broken, but you made the Mulcharmies, which are more reasonable. And in fact, I think even a player like myself, who hated them on the outset, actually likes them now and believe that they're pretty good for the game. That being said, Max C was broken and should never exist in the game ever again. Then, we can also possibly agree that a card like Droll shouldn't exist in the game, because it's way too powerful and has way too much impact. Just says lock your turn. So, how about this? You already have a card like Mistaken Arrest, which is a quick play version of Droll, and it's an even more hardcore Droll because you have to use it. It's for both turns, right? For 2 turns, no one can search, right? Why not then, if we have set the precedence before of a quick play and a hand trap having a very similar, almost indistinguishable effect, why don't then we make a new hand trap like a Mulcharmy? There's precedence in the game with Konami before for you guys to make a hand trap that mimics another hand trap's effect but might be a little bit more depowered or spread amongst more cards. I'm not saying make Droll's effect into a million different cards. No. What I'm advocating for is just make a new Droll and Lockbird. Call it Lock and Droll Bird, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. Similar to Shared Ride, right? If Mistaken Arrest can exist with Droll, then why cannot a Shared Ride hand trap exist, right? Have that new Droll, Lock and Droll Bird exist, and have it every time that your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, you get to draw a card, which makes it functionally a better card, a more, not fair, there's nothing fair in Yu-Gi-Oh, but a more logical card than Mulcharmies even. Why? Because Mulcharmies trade a special summon for a draw, which is outsized. One summon doesn't equal one draw. That's crazy. One whole card can make 50 plays while one summon can't. But if you are searching cards from your deck to your hand and just making plays, then this new bird will give you, that's going second player, instead of locking down your opponent, you get to draw along with them for every search that they make, which is, they're not going to be 30 searches in a turn. It'll be 2, 3, 4, right? You'll still get that's still a good amount of cards. Hell, if it trades for 1 for 2, right, you drop the card and then you get two draws, it's worth running. And what it also does is it gives you Droll and Lockbird's impact, but in a more fair way, where your opponent has the choice. You can give me draws by searching, or you can stop playing. Droll just says, no, stop playing. That's it. Like how Max C did. Max C said, no, stop playing. You could give them draws, but it would be game over. Mulcharmies at least give you that decision-making tree. You can make a half board. You can just go ham, give them all the draws that you want, or you can stop entirely. It gives the opposing player, the decision, which is all we're trying to do. Decision-making is what defines skill in Yu-Gi-Oh! And saying, no, you can't, that's the least skillful thing that this game provides for you. But with that being said, I doubt Konami does this, because come on, it's too logical, right? Not to crap on Konami. Ever since Genesis, they've been fire. But before Genesis, we remember Konami before Genesis. It was, we don't care. We're going to do the bare minimum to make a profit, right? So maybe on the off chance that they make this new Droll word, that'd be awesome. But I'm not going to hold my breath. So we got one more solution, not just the make a new card, right? Because that's the ideal. What can we do right now to make the game slightly more balanced? And I would say, Konami, how about we just start with putting Droll to 10 points? As we've seen with Extrav and Malcharmi Perulia and a few other 10-point cards, that seems to be the precipice where Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis players decide, should I run this card, should I not run this card? And I think that 10 is a pretty reasonable amount, especially for such an impactful floodgate. So if we go over here real quick, if we just look at, for example, the meta topping list from Genesis, and all of them have it at minimum in the side at 3. So here's Super Quant Punk. They have a lot of, so they're not main decking it because they have Ua, Nib, Ash, and all that. But still, they're running it, right? Let's try to see if we can find a single deck that doesn't run Droll. What? It doesn't run Droll. Wow. I'll stand corrected. I guess it's not as ubiquitous as we think, where it's 100% of the decks, but that's so far one of 2. So it's a little bit older of a list. But, oh, this is Fire King. They don't have points. Never mind. What about Teleport Punk? Right. There's Droll in the main. And as we've known before in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's if Droll is in your main deck, it's a bad format. Genuinely. Now, I don't think Genesis is bad. I'm just saying. I really like Genesis. But I do think that this card is ruining a lot of otherwise fun games. So there's Art Mage. Doesn't have a lot of points. I'm sure this also has Droll in some capacity. Yep, there it is in the main deck. Let's go. So we did a lot of those. Let's do a Draco Tail. Draco Tail has a lot of points committed to it. Might not be running. And look, Draco Tail, which is a deck with Phimena at 20 points, with Arthelion at 20 points, Ketu at 10. This dude has somehow found a way to squeeze 15 points for Droll. Let's find another one. Here's Animat. Animat, there's Droll. 3 Drolls. Let's do, what else? Regenesis Vanquish Soul. If this deck has it, it's insane. Sweet. We found a second deck that doesn't have Droll. And that's because this deck can't run it because it has so many points. Because he's running 2 Holly Sue. He's not even running Jiaolong, which is probably smart, honestly. Jiaolong's kind of overrated. Oh, let's see. Invoke Magistus Draco Tail. That's the winner. Let's do... How about this one? Goblin Biker Mikanko. And where's Droll? Where's Droll? No side deck. It's got to be in the side deck. What's the points here? 99 out of 100. So another deck that doesn't run Droll. Awesome. So we found 2 decks out of all of these tournament topping decks that doesn't run Droll. If Droll's a problem, right? If these decks that Droll checks are a problem, Animat or Pure Drytron, right? Hit these decks. Hit Rongo. If you hit Rongo, you don't even need Droll to stop this deck anymore, right? This deck is fine. They make a few rank 4 interrupts. Cool. Giant Hand Tornado Dragon and one of their in-theme monsters. Cool. We'll do that, right? 3, 4 reasonable interrupts. No problem. But this is a problem. If this is how we check something like... Where is it? Word? Is this dude not running Rongo? Dude, respect. Oh my god, that's beautiful. I feel like that Indian guy meme from Parks and Rec. I've looked at it for 3 hours now, and I can't stop looking. But if these are the decks that are the problem, how about we just hit these decks, right? Is that crazy? Am I crazy? Konami, here it is. Template, shared ride. For rest of the turn, each time a card's added from the main deck. We don't have to do graveyard because that'd be a little bit OP. To your opponent's hand, except by drawing them, you immediately draw 1 card. Awesome. It gives shared ride a reason to exist because this also hits graveyard. And it gives us a new card that is way better than Droll. And then Droll can go to the bin and never come back ever again. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking through this whole video, this rant of mine about the impacts of floodgates on this game and Droll specifically. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to show your support, please like the video and toss your boy a subscribe because it really does make the effort worth it. And congratulations to making it to the end of the video. Much respect. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to continue down this rabbit hole on the D-Dub, check up top, follow that video. And with all of that being said, I will see ya as always.